on, so you can see as I walk in here, you can see this is just very light rainfall, even pockets where it's dry at this point. But once you get closer to the Tarrant-Dallas County line, you see pockets of yellow. You're going to be looking at the yellow for that more moderate rainfall. But when you see the red returns on radar, that's a high intensity rain. So I want to zoom into some of these locations stretching from Rockwall all the way down through and into Ennis and over to Kaufman. That whole area here seeing pockets of rain that could cause some visibility issues. It's coming down so hard. And if we put this into motion, I mean, the entire eastern edge of North Texas is dealing with this heavy rainfall. But look down to the south because it's moving from south to north. We are starting to see a little hole here where we have a break. So we're going to be waiting for that to move in. Also, I do want to see, I'm looking off to the west where we're seeing that rain switch over to light snow out near Abilene up to Wichita Falls. That transition is going to continue to just inch a little bit farther to the east as we go into the overnight hours. We are going to look more at that and a timeline of when this rain leaves coming up. David.
All right, thank you very much. You know, the
416 and totally on brand for 2020 that it would look like this for the last day of the year, right? What a mess. And it's been like that for the entire day. The good news, I don't know if it's good news. I know a lot of you want the snow, and if it's raining at 37, it might as well snow, right? In Denton, it's 37 degrees. It's 40 in downtown Dallas. And we do have temperatures hovering right about freezing off to the west from Eastland up to Graham. And there has been some light snowfall, a little bit mixed in there with some rain. And you're going to see more of a switch over here as we move forward. Other things to point out here is going to be what's going on down near Waco, and that is nothing. We're looking forward to that because it's moving from south to north. So we are going to see this heavy rainfall come to an end eventually, but some of the heaviest returns are now moving in to southern Dallas County at this point. And that's going to continue to move north into Collin County. So it's going to be about another hour before we can say goodbye to some of this heavier rainfall. Let me look at downtown Dallas to Mesquite and right along the Kaufman-Dallas County line and the Rockwall County line is where we're going to see some of that heavier rainfall. And you can see in the reds, red, that's going to be such a high intensity rain that it'll be hard to see. I do want to show you one of our traffic cameras from US 80 near Forney right now, where you're seeing, look at all the ponding and the ditches there. And if you watch it's kind of glitching a little bit, but when you watch the cars move, you can see the backsplash because of all the rain that we've seen already. And I wanted to show you some of the road conditions. The blue color is ponding on the road, and there's quite a bit of that going on throughout the Metroplex. And then if I step over here so you can see off to the west, there's a little bit of icing here on the roadways west of Eastland. Not quite as much snow at this point, but we're going to keep an eye on this as we move forward through the evening. But really what most of us are going to be dealing with still moving forward is the rain. So there is still a flash flood watch for another couple of hours with an additional 1 to 2 inches for DFW, 2 inches or more as you get farther to the east. And then the winter side of this, there is a winter weather advisory for Parker County, also Wise County, Montague County, those locations, because look at this here as we move into the late evening hours tonight. It's about 9 o'clock tonight. You see where that line is, gets really close to really 35 west here in Tarrant County from the hours of about 9 and 10 o'clock in the evening. Also for Decatur, switching over for some light snowfall. Overall, if we do see that light snowfall here in some of these locations, I don't expect accumulation there. Now just off to the west, even just 30 miles, I do expect some light accumulation and even more as you go farther to the west. But timing on getting this all out of here is going to be just after ringing in the new year. Again, 2021 will start off a little bit better with pushing all that moisture farther to the north. So New Year's Day is going to be cloudy, but at least it will be dry. But until then, we still have some hours left to deal with this rainfall. I did keep that small path right here in the pink where we could see that rain mixed to snow briefly. Again, I'm not expecting widespread travel issues with that. Now, the spots where we could see some travel issues are going to be off to the west here where we could see 2 to 5 inches of snow before it's all said and done. Now, a few flurries in less than an inch as you get closer to DFW. So here's what we're looking at for tonight. Moderate to heavy rainfall, some mixed to snow, temperature staying at about 36 degrees for DFW with 80% in coverage for precipitation. Then as we go into the day tomorrow, 45 degrees, dry, cloudy, breezy though. So it's going to be cloudy and chilly with that breeze, 10 to 20 miles per hour out of the northwest. And here's a look at the that 10-day forecast here. We start off 2020, yes, on the chilly side, 2021, I should say, but we warm up very quickly. Look at the weekend, back to where we should be. That's where we should be, about 56 degrees. Then as we go into next week, you can see we're going to stay in the 60s to start off the week. A front arrives as we go into Wednesday. That's going to be our next chance for rain, about 30% in coverage. It looks like the best area to see this rain is going to be East Texas. And then as we go into next hydroplane as well, I'm zoomed in right now. If you look, this is at just Dallas County. And so where you're going to see some of that heavier rainfall is just south of Dallas, where we're driving at this point, pockets where it picks up in intensity, and we're getting a live sweep as we speak. And some of the heaviest rain, I would say in the red here, is going to be right along the Dallas County line, stretching from just to the east of Mesquite. That's going to continue to move just straight over some of the same spots that have seen that heavy rain. Good news is up farther to the north and west, it's just a light rainfall right now. Sometimes you're seeing spitting rain, other times you're going to see it light. And then if you look out to the west, you can see there is light rain and then a rain-snow mix as it starts to turn to snowfall for spots like Abilene up to Haskell and then farther to the west. Now this storm, the good news is we're about to get into a time frame where we see dry conditions and then it lightens up in rainfall. So these heavy pockets, they're about to move north and be out of the way, and that's going to be some good news for us. But I mean, at this point, looking at these temperatures, I mean, you really just wanted to snow because it's cold rain. If you look here, it's 39 in McKinney, 39 in Terrell, 41 in Corsicana. Yeah, we have temperatures just hovering right about freezing, which is why you're going to start to see that switch over. But this is what it actually feels like. So you not only have to worry about the rainfall, but it feels like the 20s out there. Fort Worth, 26 degrees is what it feels like. Bowie, 24, 29 in Hillsboro, 32 in McKinney, and in the teens in Abilene and Eastland. So it's a chilly night and it is a damp night. We're going to look forward to drying up, timing that out, coming up in a few minutes.
Okay.
At this point, but I mean, you just look outside and all you want to do, at least all I want to do, is cuddle up on the couch and watch, binge some Netflix shows. What we need to do at this point, because look at this. This is a mess. I mean, we have all kinds of different weather going on at one time. We have rain happening, some heavy pockets of rainfall. Instead of focusing on that for a second, I'm going to focus on what's coming up from the south, because all this is moving from south to north, and there's a big hole here where we're going to finally see it come to an end for a little bit. We do have some a mixture, even some freezing rain going on off to the west and switching over to snow near Abilene, where temperatures are closer to 32 degrees. We have received reports in Eastland County near Ranger where there have been branches breaking off because of a light freezing rain. So any reports that you can send to us from where you live, if there's any ponding or flooding or how much rain you've seen, that's great. You can tweet us, send us an email, or reach out to us on Facebook. But here's the motion that's going to continue from the south to the north. So all of this heavy rainfall that we have ongoing in Dallas County right now, the good news, what comes in behind it is a little bit of a break. So if you look here, you can see heaviest rainfall ongoing in the eastern edge of Dallas County. I mean, this type of rain is going to have low visibility with it, and it's moving up into Collin County, and then it will continue to move to the north. So if we look here, how much rain have we seen? This is a rainfall estimated, and we're going to jump back because that graphic likes to take a minute and pop in and out fairly quickly. See what I mean by that? But we've seen anywhere from about a ½ inch of rainfall to 5 inches of rain. And here, right here, where you're seeing all the yellow and orange color, is where we've seen most of that heavy rainfall in the last 48 hours. 5 inches up just to the north of Gilmer. You can see about 4 inches near Waxahachie. Up near Fort Worth, it's only about 7/10 of an inch of rain, and 1.5 inches north of McKinney. So you see we're all over the board, but we're not done. Before we wrap up this storm system later tonight, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall could fall on top of what we've already seen before it's done tonight. Also, the winter side of this, we do have a winter weather advisory just off to the west of Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're going to include spots like Parker County up to Weiss County. And that's because of this. Look at the time cast here. We're going to see the motion as the area of low pressure moves farther to the north and east. It's going to have wraparound this way, so it's going to pull that cold air farther to the east. So how far it moves will determine on how fast that rain switches over to snow. And if there's any moisture left. This model shows that we do see it on the Tarrant and Parker County line, also Weiss and Denton County line as well as we go into 9-10 o'clock tonight. Most of the moisture completely out of here by the time we get into early Friday morning, and then we'll stay dry as we move through the rest of the day Friday for New Year's Day. So that's some good news for your New Year's Day forecast. But tonight's forecast, we're going to have some issues out to the west here with some light accumulation with that snowfall. I do think that even if you're in this white band here, less than an inch of snowfall, if you see any at all, I don't expect any accumulation there. But off to the west, that's a different story and could cause some major travel problems. New Year's Eve forecast looks like this: 40 at 10 o'clock, 39 by midnight, and 38 by 2 o'clock in the morning, with that percentage of rainfall going down. So let's go back over that forecast for tonight. 36 degrees tonight, a mix of snow and rain for some, all rain for others. 45 degrees for New Year's Day. Yeah, it's going to be chilly. It's going to be windy too. Northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. And if we look here as we go into the 10-day forecast, we warm up quickly though. Once we get into Saturday and Sunday, we are going to see those temperatures back are not fun at all. I mean, whether it's rain that you're dealing with or whether there's actually some icy conditions, which we'll look at here coming up. But here's where we have some of the heaviest rainfall. I'm zoomed into Dallas County right now and Rockwall County. You can see some of the heavier rainfall. We do have one of our photographers out driving around near Garland. Though I want to go back to radar, show you what's moving in. So at the bottom of the screen here, where you're not seeing any green or any yellow or anything, that conditions are drying up, and it's not going to stay dry all night, but at least the heaviest rainfall is moving out. But still, moderate rain to heavy rain falling now across most of Dallas County and going up into Denton County as well, Weiss County, and then over toward really Kalee County. The eastern edge is just hammered with some heavy rainfall. Also, we got to talk about the winter side of this, where we have a little bit of a mix going on from Eastland up to Archer City, and then snow back to the west. How far does that snow get toward DFW? We'll talk about that. And when does the rain move out? Coming up.
All right, we shall get to all of that, Kalee. Thank you. And
rough and literally rough. When you feel my hand. What else is rough is the last couple of days, but look at this. This is really fascinating. I was talking to them earlier here in the studio about how much I love weather, which is good, right? And I just want to talk about the storm itself. So if you watch the circulation here, you can see the area of low pressure is just going to be closely moving just to the south of DFW, and that's why we're seeing the back edge of the main area of rainfall. Now, that doesn't mean the storm's over, because what's going to happen is you see all of that snow right there and that rain, it's going to spin in this direction, and we're going to have to watch this at least until we get into the early morning hours of Friday before we can finally say goodbye to the storm completely. But at least we're starting to see a little bit of a break here moving in to Cleburne and Waxahachie, and then now southern Dallas and Tarrant counties, which we've been just dealing with heavy rainfall for quite some time now. That's moving up into Collin County, eventually move up near the Red River locations. We are also, if we zoom in here, you can see where we have some of that heavy rain. Look at Duncanville. Hey, it's just a little bit of mist or nothing at all. We're actually starting to see some of the sun peek through back there. Dallas north, there's some problems from Carrollton, Richardson, Garland. And I do want to show you, this is in Garland right now, Highway 30, Bobtown. It's stuck right now, and that's unfortunate because look at this. I mean, it just looks messy out there with all of that spray back from the cars and the rain that's falling, because we have a lot of ponding on the road. That's the blue color there where you're seeing the ponding. The good news is this was all filled in with green and even some blue earlier. Now that that rain has come to an end, we're starting to see conditions improve there. But you can see the pink here. That's going to be slick conditions because of some freezing rain there off to the west of Decatur to Mineral Wells to Eastland line. And that's because look at these temperatures are sitting right about 30, 32, 33 degrees there. But most of us still dealing with rain, and that's good news. You're not going to run into any snow until you get to Abilene or west. But we still have about an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain before we wrap this thing up. And we also still have to watch out for a changeover from rain to snow for a brief time for locations just off to the west of DFW, which is why there's a winter weather advisory for those locations until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Look at this. Watch this 9 o'clock in the evening. You can see that it's starting to pull in some of that colder air, so we could see a few snowflakes mix in with that rain along the Denton County and Weiss County line and Parker and Tarrant County line. By midnight, as we ring in 2021, we're still going to have precipitation north of I-20. If you're south of I-20, you're going to dry up and you're going to stay dry now moving forward. And then within 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, all of us will be dry. But again, tonight, we are going to see that small sliver of winter mix where it's a rain-snow mix, and that's going to be our forecast for tonight. I don't think it's going to cause any problems as you get close to DFW. I think that we're still going to be just fine because temperatures, the coldest they'll be, 36 degrees tonight. Tomorrow, 45 degrees as the high temperature tomorrow. So even though we're dry, we're going to stay chilly, and it's going to be windy, northwest winds 20 to 25 miles per hour. If we look at the 10-day forecast, you'll forget about this soon. By the weekend, we're back into the mid to upper 50s. Then next week, we're in the lower 60s until a cold front arrives as we go into Wednesday. So 2021 looking pretty good from this angle. Because when you look over there, it's not so good. So we're ready for 2021. Seriously, but it is going to come to an end. I do have some positive news there. We won't deal with it for much longer. But here's a live look at Dallas Love Field. We can see just how wet with a reflection off the runway there, and also 40 degrees, but feels like 34 because of those winds. What we're seeing right now on our radar, level 2 radar, we're getting a live sweep right now, drying up from downtown Dallas to Fort Worth, but in Denton County and Collin County, we still have some light to moderate rainfall. I want to widen it out so you can see the big picture here, where we see just a small area here where it is drying up. But look, yeah, there is a but. Look off to the southwest near Hamilton Meridian. That moisture right there is going to be pushing to the north and going to fill right back in. So we are going to see more rainfall. That pocket of heavy rainfall that's now up near the Red River, that's gone, which is good, but we still have rain. Also, we have some winter weather, and that winter weather is going to inch a little bit farther to the east here as we move forward through the evening. So we're going to keep an eye on that as we move forward. Looking at the rain coverage now through the rest of the evening, 100% in coverage at 7 o'clock, dropping down to 80% in coverage by 8. By the time we get to 10 o'clock, 50% in coverage. Most of that's going to be along and north of I-20. And then as we go into the overnight hours, it's going to drop off quite a bit. And by tomorrow, it's all gone, Jason. We'll look at it in more detail coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Kalee, we'll check. We'll do baby steps.
All right, baby steps. So let's look at the bigger picture here. Here is the picture of the storm that's taking up most of the state of Texas. What's happening is we have the area of low pressure that's just to the south of us. It's going to continue to track to the north and east. So what's going to happen is the rotation around it goes from counterclockwise. So we're going to pull this moisture from here and move it to the north now. So we're not done yet. Here's a look at the arrow. Here's the rainfall just to the west of Waco. That's going to make its way back into DFW. If we zoom in now, we are kind of in a break from the rain. But the one thing you might have noticed here across Dallas County and Fort Worth County, and also going up into Collin and Denton, is that the wind gusts. As we see the back edge of the rain, we've seen gusts up to 50 miles per hour in some locations. So keep that in mind for some of these locations that see the back edge. So Tarrant County, Dallas County, Collin County, Denton County, Weiss County is all included in that, seeing those wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. Let's look at those road conditions out there, and we're going to continuously tap into this as we move forward. Because we've seen dry weather to the south, it's improved quite a bit, actually. But the blue, that's ponding. We've had a lot of heavy rainfall there, so a lot of ponding going on for the north of I-20, and then also icy conditions out to the west from Eastland toward Abilene. We're going to keep an eye on that because as we move forward, look at the temperatures here. 32 in Graham, 30 in Eastland, 33 in Stephenville, 33 in Decatur right now, Bowie at 32. Those temperatures are at freezing or just slightly above, and that is why there's a winter weather advisory for locations just to the west of DFW, because we're going to see that rain switch to snow in some of those locations. Here's a look at the latest, what we're thinking here with future radars. We watch the heavier rainfall at 9 o'clock. We're starting to see a switch over for folks from Cleburne to Granbury and down to Meridian, and that moves up close to Fort Worth, but just off to the west as we move forward into the evening. It's mainly going to be from Bowie down to Weatherford to the west that we see that snowfall. So if we jump ahead and look at the big picture here, rain will continue for Dallas to the east. That small sliver in pink there, that'll be a rain mixed transitioning to a light snow. I don't expect much in the way of accumulation there or any travel problems. Now, the area in white, mainly snow, this is where we could see some accumulation and some travel issues. How much accumulation? 1 to 2 inches for spots from Bowie down to Granbury to the west, 2 to 5 inches of snowfall from Eastland to the west as well. We're already seeing accumulation going on west of Abilene, causing some issues, which we've shown you a few times. Your New Year's Eve forecast looks like this. Temperatures are going to sit on the brink of 40 for Dallas-Fort Worth, and then it's going to drop to about 38. So cold, and yes, still dealing with that rainfall. Dropping coverage though, 50% in coverage by 10 o'clock. By midnight, it's going to be about 20% in coverage, and that will continue to go down into early tomorrow morning. But until then, we're still about 80% in coverage with moderate to heavy rainfall still a problem, and a mix of snow for some. Temperatures dropping to 36. Tomorrow, 45 degrees with cloudy skies. So even though the rain has moved out, it is going to stay cloudy and chilly. But then the sun comes back as we go into the weekend, and those temperatures warm up as